And welcome to the No Something Required podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing. And now your trio of hosts, starting with Romina with the good hair, Audrey, edits like a boss, Ember, and of course your dark lord of the interwebs, Roberto Blake. Welcome to the No Something Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. Please like, subscribe, review, and do all of those things.
That's a new intro. What the heck?
Audrey, that's the culmination of all of your skills and talents.
You know, I just
Am I just an editor?
That's all you are now.
I usually pick on you, so I decided to just switch it up.
Kidding. God. That's a whole rant I could go on.
Oh?
Would you, yes?
I actually recommended you for a video editing gig recently.
Oh? For what?
Yeah, famous cosplayer Yaya Han.
I need to, I don't know. I'll tell you guys about this off.
Yeah, if you want to take on more editing clients, I might have some people.
I'm like, I'll tell you later.
I think she's questioning her entire life right now.
Existential crisis.
No,
She
ahoy.
doesn't want you to use that name on
no.
her ever again.
No, that's true. No. I don't know if I want to talk about this publicly because I just don't want to.
No, we're not
Drama
making you.
begins.
We're not gonna have you talk about this publicly.
Or are we?
I love editing. I just I don't know if I'm looking for more clients right now.
Audrey, tell us how you really feel.
Now I can relate though, like client services. Like, look, like doing any kind of client services work. Look, there's a reason I decided to stop being somebody else's video editor, graphic designer, and everything like that. And then I moved into consultant and then coaching. It's like, yeah, doing creative work for other people is like, that's a good way to hate what you do.
It gets to a point where you kind of have to just see what is the next step.
Yeah.
But we won't make Audrey talk about it anymore.
No.
Publicly.
I mean, this is interesting to talk about. I don't know how I feel about talking about it online.
No, publicly is not like, no, not everything is
it ain't the place.
Not everything's a public conversation. Not everything's a public, as you all already know, not everything's a public conversation. Where do we want to begin this evening?
Well, yes, we can jump into VidCon, but let's read Andy's comment first. Bro, just press the edit button. How hard can it be to edit a video? Exactly. Just press the edit button.
It's so hard that I've decided to kind of like try to I formatted my podcast to not bother editing. And now my members only content is, I literally am like, okay, the members only content is great. You'll get raw Roberto unedited there, unedited, no filter. Let's go. And that's my exclusive content for my channel members now is great. You get like these brain dumps where I don't edit. Like, congratulations, with good production value, mind you. But like, yeah, no, I don't. The members only content. Yeah, I'm not editing Jack. That's how I can get it out.
Is this on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the members only.
My premium channel members, they get.
Can I ask you a couple questions about that?
Yeah.
How often are you posting videos on there?
The plan, because I now have this new, more efficient setup and editing process using StreamYard, where I don't edit, is they'll get at least one exclusive video a week now going forward. They'll get it once a week. It was sporadic before, plus some archive stuff, and like obviously, but now they'll get it,
what's so special about the content that one would receive? Like what's my incentive for being a premium member?
It's content that I think is very valuable, but is not going to get clicks and views. So it is the raw gems that you guys get. You guys have been with me at conventions where it's like I have these really cool conversations with creators where I come up with this really cool thing, but something that would never translate to a video that anyone would click on, but it's massively useful or helpful. But I either haven't figured out how to get a video out of it yet, and then I might forget or it just sits on the shelf, or there's no way to extract a video that will get tens of thousands of views out of that idea. So now in my opinion, my best stuff will be my brain dumps that my channel members get. And then whether or not I ever figure out a way to get those ideas pared down to a 15-minute video that someone will watch, they'll get the actual thought process behind things and what I'm actually thinking about things, where I don't have to edit myself and go, oh, I have to chop this down to make it a usable video.
Right. To care about retention. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They will
No, I
get,
get that.
they will get the video that would be, here is it straight out of Roberto's brain and not processed and chopped up and catered to maximize retention and watch time for the YouTube algorithm, which is my entire philosophy, by the way, of paywalled content. Is I do not, free content's only value, in my opinion, is how free it is. Because my problem is I believe that all free content is censored. All free content is censored, whether it's the platforms or the creator catering to the platforms. And all content is watered down because it is optimized for watch time instead of optimized for being just what it is. Instead of it being what it is now optimized, and therefore the raw thing is not as potent anymore. It's all watered down to make it digestible. I don't, and someone can say, yeah, but that makes it better. I don't know that that's true. I think in many cases it's not.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what people are looking for. Like if they want a really in-depth look into something, you know.
Or again, maybe if they want the version of it that the creator would intend, instead of I'll give you a primary example, because it's not always about whether they want it in depth. Sometimes it's about maybe you want something as short as possible, because guess what? As short as possible is a terrible strategy for YouTube. You know why? If you make something and you make it a YouTube short, you make like no money on it. Despite getting millions of views, you make jack for money. Okay? And then if you make it a regular YouTube video, but it's disproportionately short, well, YouTube doesn't make a bunch of ad revenue. So what's the incentive to really push it? I'm not saying they never do, but it's not an accident that all the biggest YouTubers with 10 million subscribers refuse to make videos that are less than 8 minutes or 12 minutes or 16 minutes long.
Right.
Even education channels all drag out their content because they've tried making, I'll just make it as short as possible. It didn't get pushed as hard as when they make something that's accumulates more time on YouTube and generates more revenue for YouTube. So also, don't you want to get paid the most you can get paid? So the platforms incentivize making content a certain way. That is not the way that the creator would make if they weren't being incentivized. When your audience pays you, you don't have to cater to a platform strategy. You only have to give people directly what you would want to give them and not cater to a platform strategy. When I teach a course, I can tell you the answer to something in 2 minutes. If I make it for YouTube, YouTube will reward me more if I get you to watch for 8 minutes.
Right.
If YouTube's don't reward me for doing something, I'm going to do what YouTube rewards me for.
Right.
But if I don't have to think about that, I could just make it what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's more, I guess you could say, like your premium content is more organic. It's kind of like it's the Roberto that you talk to after a panel at a convention.
There's no jump cuts in real life. There's no B-roll in real life. So you're getting as close of an experience to meeting me as possible, just like similar thing to live streaming. There's no, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with live streaming, we're still creating sometimes a format or something like that for broad reach. So if I take what I have to do to reach people off the table, the content is more pure, in my opinion. And with me, I have this thing that's not this, you know how I have the switcher on my desk here? Well, on this other desk, I have a different switcher that only works for 2 cameras, but it's actually really good because I have a close-up and I have a wide, and it's really dope. And so I can still make a premium experience because, again, it's 2 Sony A7 Mark IVs. I'm not making lower quality content for my exclusives. It's 2 Sony A7 Mark IVs. The only difference is 1080 for StreamYard instead of 4K. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's good to have like the different options, you know, like that people can pick and choose what they want, or if they want like a more in-depth review, they can.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it can be more in depth, or it can be short as hell. But you're not, because again, you can make something, but then you have to make it to the YouTube Shorts style of making a short, like the thing I sent y'all, which is really dope. But it's like, okay, you're putting in the same amount of effort into that as editing a regular video, but it's a YouTube Short, and yeah, it's going to get viral, and it's going to grow your channel, but you're not going to make any money for all that effort. You're going to have to make that money later and everything like that. It's like,
Right.
But if you're already making the kind of money that a Behazer or a Graham Stephan's making, they're already so rich that like you could argue they don't have to use money as an incentive to do things. Money is not my biggest incentive to do things, but I still think about it in terms of if I choose to do something and I have to work really hard at it and I don't enjoy it as much, then whether I'm getting paid for it kind of does matter.
Right. Like, what is the incentive at that point? It's money.
And it'd have to be because, again, you know me, I don't care about views as much as other people do.
Yeah.
So if I don't care about views as much and I'm caring less about money, then I either have to love what I'm doing or I have to be paid a lot of money. Because I'm like, if I don't like the process as much, you got to pay me money to make up for that. Or if I'm not going to make a lot of money, I better love what I'm doing, or it better not be hard, or it better not be difficult or challenging. You know?
Will in the chat has a question. Couldn't that be seen as spending money to make money with the shorts?
No, because you don't make money on the shorts, and you're spending time. I'm not talking about the spending money part as much as it's the time. If you're going to spend the same amount of time to edit a short to go viral, but then you're not going to get paid like you would a regular video, why not just make a regular video, not go viral, but make money off of it?
Right.
The idea that, it grows your channel, that doesn't guarantee that you make money later on the back end just because the channel grew.
Yeah. I mean, just the other day I sent you
have of YouTube. Yeah, that's a theory people have of YouTube who aren't doing it full time.
Just the other day I sent you guys a screenshot of, I don't even remember what channel I showed you guys, but it was I think it was a friend of mine or something that I looked at their channel and I saw that they were doing shorts along with regular videos, and that their shorts were getting like, close to 1 million views, if not over 1 million and a couple million views. Like their shorts were performing like in terms of engagement at an exponential rate that was so very different from the rest of the videos on their channel. So when you click on the video tabs on their channel, the difference was very stark, because like their regular videos were maybe like a few thousand, maybe a couple thousand, 2,000-3,000 views.
That's happened with my friend who has a Star Wars channel too. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you look at like the longevity of like how long this guy was posting these shorts and getting these viral shorts, and the amount of subscribers that they have, it just didn't. If one of his regular videos had gotten to 1 million views, his subscriber count would be reflective of that. But it isn't, in terms of him having multiple viral hits in shorts.
Right.
But it's on the same channel.
Then in terms of the ad revenue.
Right. I can't even imagine what that's like. Yeah.
Yeah. No, if I get 1 million views, I'm getting like $12,000-$15,000 if I get on a regular video. Video. Short, I wouldn't get shit. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So again, it would be the same amount of, at least for like someone like me, it'd be about the same amount of effort, because the thing is, with a short, you have to script it, plan it, storyboard, all of it, and that 60 seconds of editing has to be tight. My regular content can be edited loose and not require nearly as much tightness on every single aspect, and it doesn't have to be scripted. So, and again, my videos, when I do well, I'm no slouch. When I do well, I mean, when they suck, the views suck. But when I do well, I get 100,000 views. I get 40,000 views. I get 400,000 views on certain topics. My best video of all time has 1.4 mil. So like, and again, I have the data. I have 1,500 videos. I know the data. I've tried everything at this point. I've done YouTube so long. I've tried almost everything at this point. So I was like a little bit of everything. So I have enough stats to come to some conclusions because I have data. There's almost nothing aside from making 100 shorts. There's nothing I don't have a sample size of 100 of for the most part at this point. either with my channel or channels I have access to.
Audrey.
Yes.
Do you feel like there's something that you haven't tried on your channel that you
Yes.
think might be something you'd want to try that you feel like might help, but you just haven't done it yet?
I mean, my plan is to like do spectacle packaging and storytelling content. So I have some ideas, and I want my
Ryan
stuff to be
Trahan?
related. Well, yeah, basically. Everyone's talking about Ryan Trahan. I love Ryan's series and stuff, but I'm excited to see like what else comes out of it because I don't think he's bringing back vlogging. Everyone's talking about like, oh my
No,
god, he's
because
bringing
I
back
think
vlogging.
they're
Like,
mistaking
no,
what vlogging is. I think that
that's
they
not. People are not
they
going to
look
be
at a
daily
style
vlogging
of
now.
it's that they
You know?
think of a style of video and then their head the style is vlogging, so it's vlog like, but no,
it's
I've
relatable spectacle. That is what Ryan's doing.
Relatable
I-
spectacle.
I'll
That's
tell
such
you
a
what,
someone
funny
said that,
word.
and I was like,
the-
I love that.
I'm
That's-
coined
Say
it.
that
No.
so fast. You say
I
that 3
figured
times
it out
fast.
while I was at VidCon. I figured it out. Watch this. No, I figured it out because
Roberto, wait. Say
Wait, was
say
this with your
relatable
epiphany
spectacle
that you,
3
like,
times
relatable
fast.
me?
spectacle, but I don't believe it. Like here, because
No?
because I'll tell you what it
What?
actually is.
Okay.
No, because it's like because
Is it
again,
nostalgia?
it's not even spectacle content really.
Mm.
It's like because what it is this. See, everyone's making the mistake of thinking that even I made this mistake at first. I think it's maybe the Colin Samir video influenced me at first, but I've had more time to think about it, and I've done my own case study now. I haven't made a video, but I've done my own case study on Ryan Trahan. And I'll tell you the secret. I'll tell you what the truth is. Ryan Trahan is not discount Mr. Beast, like people have been saying. Ryan Trahan is the next Casey Neistat, and not because of vlogs, because Casey called it a vlog, everyone accepted that as what a vlog is. But I'll tell you the truth. Ryan Trahan is the living embodiment of Casey's philosophy of do what you can't. He's the living embodiment of do what you can't. And do what you can't is about getting the most adventure out of your mundane life as possible. Making simple things fun. And I'll tell you why. Casey, there's nothing special about Casey Neistat's office that isn't in the power garage of every dad who has power tools. Every dad in America that has power tools has the same things in his office as Casey. Has the same thing in his garage that Casey Neistat has in his office. There's nobody who can't literally put a camera above a table and write or draw something or make a pie chart the way that Casey does. Casey Neistat's videos were so accessible to make that with 4,000 subscribers, Sarah Dietschy was able to perfectly parody them. Casey Neistat turned living in New York every day. Excuse me. Casey Neistat turned living in New York every day into an adventure. And aside from the fact when he did do spectacle, fantastical things that you couldn't do, most of Casey's vlogs were not anything you couldn't do. Anyone can go running. Me and Brent Conti actually filmed by the water where Casey Neistat runs. You could run down there anytime you want. A lot of people do run down there back then just to run into Casey. Okay? Anybody could go to those pizza shops. That's why at a coffee shop, like me and my friends ran into Casey. The first time I met Casey Neistat in person, ran into him randomly at a coffee shop in Tribeca. Like there was nothing inaccessible. Anybody and everyone did go. By the way,
that was my first time too.
Everybody
was at a coffee shop. I ran into him at a coffee shop in Tribeca.
Randomly, no plan, no meetup, no let's meet, no tweets, nothing. Just in person, organic, random New York serendipity. Just like that. Just like that. So the thing is, there was nothing with the New York vlogs specifically. There was almost nothing about them that you yourself couldn't do if you wanted to, which is why so many people moved to New York and started making New York vlogs. Is they could show you what their everyday life, spending time with friends, going out to the park, going out on dates could be. and you would find it interesting and appealing. You would take something seemingly ordinary and find the extraordinarily interesting piece of it and put that out into the world. And in my mind, to some extent, to a lesser degree, it's also why people fell in love with Kelly Stamps. I think the storytelling of Casey Neistat found its way into the hooks of some creators of a younger generation. And I think that three of the best examples might be Kelly Stamps, Ryan Trahan, and wait for it, Emma Chamberlain. Emma Chamberlain, Kelly Stamps, and Ryan Trahan, I think best exemplify the idea that you don't have to spend a lot of money per se, and there are things in your everyday life that are interesting enough to make content out of if you really think about it, and if you challenge yourself to go on an adventure in your own backyard. If you go on an adventure in your own backyard, or you challenge yourself to go on a road trip, or you challenge yourself to go out and just see what you can do, then you end up with the content that these creators are making.
Wait, okay, I agree. I think the one thing
and I think that's not called vlogging. That's called being an everyday adventurer, by the way, is my phrase. My phrase is be an everyday adventurer.
Yes. But I think I agree with all that. But the reason why I'm calling it relatable spectacle, or that's what someone else said, is because I think it's based on packaging is the spectacle side. I think like Jimmy has paved the way and like kind of hacked the YouTube / human thing with the thumbnails and titles and them being kind of extreme. I think that's what gets people to, or that's what makes videos do the
I don't
best
think
now.
that's sustainable.
But I think the relatable spectacle thing is that like Ryan's concepts in themselves are like pretty, like anyone could do them technically. Like they're not like based on money or based on some like outside source that makes him have more knowledge or whatever to do it. They're all pretty simple, like crossing the country with a penny.
The content is realistic.
Yes. But that's why I'm like, it's not like he's bringing back vlogging in the sense that, we're not going to have like Emma Chamberlain really in the spotlight anymore. People who just do like coffee hauls and stuff. I think it's going to be like these challenges that are more.
No, it's about challenging yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about challenging yourself, which is why I go with the everyday adventure thing. Because here's what I'll tell you. Ryan's content is realistic. The problem with all the spectacle YouTubers is that it is unrealistic to do for anything they're doing is unrealistic. That's why it's unrelatable. It's unrealistic.
I think we're saying the same. I think we have the same idea. I just call it relatable spectacle because I still think it is spectacle in terms of packaging. Like you have to be able to hook people in, even if your idea is like technically simple and something that anyone can do. There has to be some sort of angle that is still spectacle in the sense that it's like, like crossing the country with a penny.
So I think that we can say that, and I agree with you. I think we're saying the same thing. I think we'll come up with a phrase for it at some point that fits but better. But I'll tell you something that's interesting to me, because I think it's the truth. I think the key to being successful on YouTube, and I mean any level of successful, is predicated on how many things you are at least slightly above average at. You don't have to be extraordinary. Most YouTubers actually weren't when they started, but they were slightly above average on top of being quirky. Quirky enough to want to post videos to the internet is what I mean by that. But you still have to be slightly above average, even though the bar on some of that is down a little bit. Because remember, back in my day, like back in the early days of YouTube, having the technical ability to shoot and edit a video was like an exclusive thing that was not normalized. It's a very small percentage of the population that would begin to even think of acquiring the ability to shoot and edit a video and use a video editing software of any kind. So that's a quirky thing, but it's also a technical barrier. The technical barrier doesn't exist now because anyone who did that would have had to be a nerd. Remember, YouTube was exclusively nerds. When it started, there was no like bros or jocks or normies really on, like, you remember Romina, there was like no, it was all intellectuals and artists and nerds and AV club kids and freaks and theater geeks and stuff like that. That was it. Because where you were not going to have the technical proficiency outside of that to be on YouTube. it became more normalized, and now anybody without being a nerd could be a YouTuber now. And that's why it's more diverse than it ever was, because tech is no longer an outlier thing that separates people. You can be into tech and not necessarily be nerdy. Like, people are like, it used to be a nerd thing to have all this tech and hardware and gadgets, or even to know how to use a computer. Now everybody has one or close to it, you see? So like, that changes things. The other thing is, everyone assumed if you're on the internet and making videos and talking about yourself, you're some kind of raging narcissist. That may still be true, but now everybody does it. So it's normalized. It doesn't make you a freak quite as much anymore.
Yeah. Well, unless you're female.
Oh.
How? Because at least I do still get comments from people that still kind of treat me like as if I'm a narcissist just because I'm putting myself in front of a camera.
You mean assholes exist? And I don't think that's predicated on gender. I've gotten those comments. That's not predicated on gender. That's just assholes.
Yeah, but I'm saying it hasn't gone away from me. Like what you were, I'm just saying, I know what you're saying and I agree with you, but also I'm saying that for me, it never went away. That never changed. I still get treated that way.
Yeah, I just think those people are assholes.
Yeah.
I think that part of it, part of it might also just be that those comments still exist and they still exist for me. But in general, negative comments, unless there's a middle ground. If you're a mid-tier creator, in my experience, and from people I talk to, if you're a mid-tier creator, it's probably the most peaceful part. It's like the most peaceful range in theory of being a creator, because you have enough results for people to respect you enough to sometimes shut the hell up, but you're also not so big that everybody feels that they can dunk on you for being privileged and that they can punch up at you.
You know, you're not wrong about that either, because Becky from Becky and Chris has talked about this before, where she actually doesn't read the comments anymore because of that. And how many subs are they at now? I mean, they've got like hundreds of thousands, right?
Like between 200.
They're not at 1 million yet, which I don't understand why not. But
the optics of their channel, though, their channel punches above its weight class, because the optics of the fact that they she can be a complete full-time creator. He's a doctor and a YouTuber, and they fly a helicopter. They're not absurdly.
It's not.
No. I'm saying the perception. I'm saying they get criticism more because they're perceived as being more privileged than they actually are.
Sure. Right.
So relative to say, like, all right, look at my situation, looks relatively modest compared to theirs, but I'm the bigger creator. So I would be framed, or whether it's true or not, I would be framed as less, say, privileged than them, because the thing is, they have privilege plus prestige optics, and they're treated more unfairly because they're held to a higher standard, even with a lower sub count. Ironically, I'm still close to what a bedroom YouTuber is. But when you start doing, because their content has a spectacle element to it because of what they do, between travel and the optics of that, the renovations and the moving and the optics.
I mean, I would call you a studio creator, not a bedroom creator.
You're right. Because I have 2 studios, because I have Studio A here and I have the basement. I mean, you're right.
Yeah, you've got your office and you've got like a dedicated space for creating.
Yeah. So again, but I'm still an at-home creator in that way. I'm not traveling the world per se.
Yeah, you're not doing like extensive home renovations.
And I'm not, and even if I was, I'm not filming them. And here's the other thing, though. Because it's the optics of the spending of the and the optics of opportunity and resource. But here's the other thing.
Yeah,
a helicopter is such an outlandish thing that they get the optics from that I would have if I had bought a Ferrari or a Lambo. If I bought a Lamborghini, I would get criticism and hate if for nothing else than being a Lamborghini owner. And they would everyone would call me a fake guru. If I owned a Lambo, everyone would call me a fake guru. I swear to God.
Yeah.
So the optics of, oh, you have a helicopter, like, even though it's like, I looked, it's actually cheaper than a bunch of cars that like literal, like I've lived in small towns. Townies will sit there and will get these cars that cost much more by the time you pay it off than buying a used helicopter, which is insane.
Yeah.
Yes, but it can fly.
Yeah, which is dope. But it also takes a long time to learn how to fly a helicopter properly. And
Not
get
to
your
mention
license.
they're dangerous.
Damn right they are. So like, so again, I think that they're unfairly criticized, to be honest with you.
No, I get that. I mean, my point was just because it was like a direct example of the getting into that tier, passing that mid tier where there is a lot of negative comments,
because there's a tier where the person who would make those negative comments becomes afraid of the dog pile of your audience if you're big enough. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, and they're also like, she's also at a point where, or I guess I should say they, because Chris is also part of it. They are at a point where they can afford to completely ignore their comments if they want to, and not get any of the negative side effects of decreasing the engagement, right? So, and they have a strong enough community that are loyal enough that they know where to find them, like on Instagram or Twitter, where they can still foster that community and not have to do it on the YouTube watch page.
Yeah, I agree. I think that once you get past 1 million and you get into the millions, yes, you have a strong community that defends you, but people are also less sympathetic because you are at that point you have an unattainable
There's a disconnect.
Yeah, you have an unattainable level of success in their eyes and all these things. Once you're at anything really above like 1 million, and people are less likely, aside from devoted diehard fans, to defend you. And again, now anybody says, "Oh, I can punch up. There's no consequences because because you can't fight back." And that's why, ironically, now again, unless you become like hated or alienated, ironically, people who do stand up for themselves and who will fight back and whose community will do it too, they get less hate. Ironically, it's the nice people who get the most.
Wait, the Blake-opter?
The Robo
Blake.
The
Robo
Blake-opter.
The Robo.
I had to read that twice.
Yeah, well, we just read it 3 times.
No.
Guys, do you want to dive into talking about VidCon?
Yes.
Audrey.
Yes, there was no one there.
Audrey, you've been quiet, and so now it's your turn to lead the conversation. We're talking about VidCon. Roberto and I are going to be quiet. You're going to be the one to lead us.
Okay. So we're talking. Yeah, the punchline. The punchline. There was no one there.
There's no one there. First of all, they're lying if they said that they had 50,000 people there. That's a lie. That is absolutely not true.
I wonder if they're counting virtual, if you're counting virtual,
that doesn't count. That's
I wouldn't count it,
but maybe that's what they.
There was definitely not 50,000 people.
Maybe they got it. I mean, they're owned by VIDCON now. Maybe they got to say those numbers for investors.
But I don't know. How was your VidCon experience, Robert? I barely actually went to the convention center. I went to one talk, and it was
I didn't go to that many talks, but I, in general, don't go to a lot of talks at VidCon.
Roberto, weren't you speaking?
Not this year. I spoke last year at the virtual, and the year before that the virtual, not the year before. And I spoke in 2008, and my room was standing room only, had a line wrapped around, and people couldn't get in. So why they probably should have brought me back, because they tried bringing all these big name people and they brought all these big TikTokers, and it was a sad affair.
Well, okay, can I make a comment about the TikTokers? I don't want to dunk on them, all right, but
they're wonderful, nice enough people, especially super young. They're wonderful people. I'm gonna dunk on them.
Wait, Audrey's talking. Wait,
I went to one talk, all right, at the end, so I'm biased because I only have one subject here. But there was a couple of creators talking. Michelle Carre talked, and I loved her talk. It was great. And then this TikTok guy came up. He seems very nice. But one trend that I'm seeing with a lot of the TikTok people that I meet is that they kind of have one thing that they blew up for,
and
then they just
One-
talk about that.
trick
And I'm like,
pony,
this
one hit
isn't-
wonder.
Exactly. And I'm just sitting there like, you seem like a great person, but you do transition videos on TikTok. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, the talk was all about, like, it was very surface level because I think these people
And it was
like,
also
blew up
very
over quarantine.
and this was
and, like,
very
they
also
don't really have much to
This is-
elaborate about.
and like, oh, this is all you have to offer, which means it's in this narrow lane where if don't exist in that lane, there's no value. So for those reasons, I'm out.
Well, and it's also just, what type of I feel like I'm dunking, but like the advice you can give somebody is very limited when you blew up over doing like one specific trend, and that's your entire career now is based off of that.
Which I
Like, how are
think
you
doesn't
supposed
qualify you
go
to speak at
to a
VidCon.
convention? Yeah, how are you supposed to go to a
Right.
convention and be like teaching people on how to build careers as creators when
you
you
can
blow
go-
up over one thing and
you
still
can
do that
go
same thing?
And you can do a fireside chat in the community at the community level for fans. You can do a
Yeah.
meetup for fans. You should not be speaking and trying to teach creators jack.
I
that
just-
sounds harsh.
I
That's
felt like
harsh.
I wasn't learning anything.
And none of these kids. And by the way, there's no one on TikTok that's not already mega famous. It's gonna have a 10-year career on TikTok. I promise.
I think the problem is that there's
Name
that
a Snapchat creator who has a 10-year like.
most. I feel that most people on
Shoulders.
TikTok have no idea why.
Well,
no
yeah,
They're
idea why
successful.
they're viral.
they did like
or why
one
they're
thing that
successful.
blew up,
You-
and then they just talk about their story, and it's
Yeah,
like,
but
that's
they still
awesome,
don't
but,
even
like,
know why that
Bruh.
one thing blew
Bruh.
up, right? They're just
Exactly.
like copying it over
They
and
were-
over again,
blew up
right?
because they watch this. They blew up because they capitalized on trend and timing. The end. They aren't a genius. They bought in early. They bought cheap.
okay.
No, I'm being dead serious. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not.
By the
trying
way,
to be
this
mean.
is generalizing, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
there
this
are
is
talented
generalizing.
people
There's
who are on
obviously
other
TikTok. We don't want to
TikTokers who have
dunk on
more,
those
like,
people.
There are
I'm
TikTokers
generalizing.
who have like an actual brand and like. Do
I
something
agree.
that's
I know
Sure.
many of them. I know many of them personally, and I know people who make excellent content. But again, even people I know who have millions of followers on TikTok, they do not know anything about content strategy. They know how to make good looking, funny, engaging content. They don't have a strategy. Their entire strategy is predicated on one of two things: make dope shit and upload. The end. Or insert trend here. What trend can I hijack this week? That is it. And that is the extent of the forethought of their strategy. They are brilliant at their forethought when it comes to filming a scene exactly right, getting timing exactly right, editing, picking the right music.
But the thing is, Roberto, the thing is that they're just copying somebody else who's done it. Because when you look at those videos, right, you can find a viral video on TikTok, and when you look at it, you can actually find who they copied, and then you can find who that person copied, and you can find who that person copied, because it's just a trend.
Or they pass off content that was popular in a different platform off as their own type of style of content, because they know that there's no parity between TikTok and other platforms, that majority of the young people on TikTok only watch TikTok.
Well, yeah, and my point with that is that, like, the reason that they get the editing down and the reason that they have the timing right is because somebody else already did it. It's a carbon copy. Like, they're just copying it, right? Except they're putting themselves in it.
I like what Will Berry says. It's like taking financial advice from someone who won the lottery, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they should be doing talks about exactly that, what they're good at doing, right? Like, not doing, talks about other things that are kind of unrelated or not applicable to, like, other people. Does that make
all
sense?
They want to do, but that's all they ever wanted to do, is all they want to do is to get fame and attention so they could tell their story.
When the entire, I don't think you should be doing
not
talks
really.
at
You can
about
say
creative
it's
strategy.
You say it's fine. You can say it's fine, but that's not worth somebody paying hundreds of dollars for a ticket, hundreds of dollars to fly across the country, and hundreds of dollars for a hotel room so that you can tell your story that's not applicable to them in any way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not actually, if you spend money and that's your result, it's not okay.
That's why this is my biggest criticism of VidCon this year. And I think this wraps into it, is like everything was so like clout based. Like, it felt like they were getting speakers just because they had followers, regardless if it was TikTok or YouTube.
Ding, ding,
They
ding,
just
ding,
wanted
ding.
people with numbers, and they didn't have like, so many. So many of the talks felt so empty. Well, okay, I went to one. The talk I went to that felt empty, and it wasn't just this guy. There's like 4 people that cycled through. The one that was empty were the 2 TikTokers, and it's because they just have followers, but they did backflips, and like that's how, you know what I mean? Like, why are we hiring these people to like do talks about creator strategy? I don't understand.
And it should have had me. Because here's the thing, and I'm not saying that to be facetious either. Like, I'm not saying that to be facetious. When I was at VidCon, every creator that I talked to said that they didn't learn anything at these talks for the most part, and that they learned more and got more value in terms of actual education value. They enjoyed VidCon, but they were like, honestly, Roberto, the deepest that conversation I've had about my content has been speaking with you. Which is like, and I'm not even a speaker, which I should have been. Like, and again, I say that as a former VidCon speaker. It's like if you go watch the tape of my session, if you go watch the tape on my YouTube channel of my session, it's probably more valuable than most of the tracks that anyone attended, and still relevant, by the way, 4 years later, than anybody attended this past year. And I say that as someone who's worked with VidCon before and is a fan of VidCon, is that my previous VidCon talks valuable than almost all the programming this year. And by the way, I was not only told that by attendees in the creator thing, I was told that by people who went to the industry track. I was told that by people who went to the industry track. And they said that the only thing of substance over there was like, they went to a talk from Matt Geelan from Lil Monster, and they went to something from Matt Koval and Todd Beaupre, friend of the show, like presented. And like, yeah, people got stuff out of the Mr. Beast talk, but the Mr. Beast talk was mostly the same presentation we got at Vid Summit. Yeah. Same one we got at Vid Summit. And without the distractions, without the distractions.
Yeah.
So like, right. I'm good. I'm like, so it was just like, oh, I'm glad I went to the Amazon Live presentation instead, because I'm like, if I had seen, oh, this is literally the same talk from Vid Summit, it's like, oh, okay, I already got all the notes from that. I'm like, I can watch that on my account too. I'm like, oh, I can dip out. I'm gonna go. I would have still dipped over to the Amazon Live, which I did, which is a shame, because I also think they're setting creators up for failure by making them feel special and giving them this thing on the creator. Because again, send them to the community track, or let them give a performance, or let them do a stage show, or let them do a talent show or something like that. Let them host a talent show like YouTubers Got Talent or Creators Got Talent or VidCon's Got Talent or something, and let them do a spectacle around that, because the reality is you're setting them up for failure. When you put these creators in these rooms and then like 12 people show up for them and they have sitting room for 200, you're not doing them any favors. You're not doing them any favors.
Yeah. I'm wondering, like, I don't know. I think it's just who was in charge, like booking people and like coming up with the topics. It's like they're prioritizing just names over actual information in the creator track, which I don't think makes any sense. And hopefully they don't do that next
They thought that it would, because they thought it would do numbers, because these people do numbers, like, and they
people on the creator track aren't there necessarily for the numbers, like
they're there. Community. People on the creator track want to be those people. They want to be full-time creators. So someone who can't add value to that conversation. And by the way, big TikTokers and big YouTubers, a lot of them don't have any business savvy. They're very fortunate. They have a wonderful career, but that doesn't make do you think actors, would you ask for financial advice from Matt Damon just because he's rich? Is there anything in the history of Matt Damon that makes you think that he is highly, and I'm not saying he isn't, but what evidence do you have that aside from him being rich, that he's financially savvy?
I'd rather take financial advice from Ashton Kutcher.
Yes. Absolutely, I would, because he's demonstrated some financial savvy in his life.
Now, okay. In terms of VidCon,
hashtag not all actors, right?
Right. In terms of VidCon and conventions in general, Do you feel like maybe there is a shift in culture in terms of having those loyal fans because of the fact that there are more people who are successful or who have large fan bases on the internet, making it more normal as opposed to, like, let's say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when we had, like, people like Toby Turner or whatever. And it's like, who are these people? Like, they're so funny, they're cool, and like they're relevant, but they're not, it's not Brad Pitt. Like, let me go meet
Yeah.
them. But I feel
Yeah.
like now there's so many people who are like that, right? Because anybody could be like, my next door neighbor is probably a TikTok star, and I have no idea, right? But is it like they're able to have these numbers because it's online and because it's accessible, but they're not necessarily those diehard fans who are willing to travel to the other side of the
they're
country
not
to see them at a
Depends.
convention.
I'll
Right?
give you an example. People think someone like people will sit there and they'll criticize because of drama that happened during the pandemic, and they'll try and dunk on Gabby Hanna, right? But when Gabby Hanna throws a concert, people show up and people fly across the country, and Gabby has actual fans, and they don't just stream her music on Spotify. They don't just, quietly sit in the back or try to defend her in the comment section of T channels. When Gabby Hanna throws a concert, people, including her haters, show up, pay for tickets, buy a t-shirt. I swear to God. Like, meanwhile, you'll have these relevant content creators who can't get 10 people at their meetup at VidCon, can't fill 20 seats, can't fill up a whole row for their fireside chat at VidCon, but these people are relevant and drama-free and what's popping and whatnot, but a so-called washed-up creator can, have a concert with literal, like, raving fans, and people show up and everything like that, and people screaming during her sets, like, for a concert. That's a difference. Or another example of this is, like, you can, like, people have an inflated sense of how internet translates to real world. And it's never been congruent. And I've been talking about this for years, about this expectation that people have and this entitlement people have and everything like that. Remember, like, there's like, all right, so there's, out of all the YouTubers in the entire world, which is 100 million YouTubers globally, worldwide, less than like 300,000 have a silver play button, which is what I have. Out of those 300,000, it's less than 100,000 of us that have 500,000 subscribers, right? So that puts me in a very, 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 very small minority of people. Remember how weird it is for me if anybody notices me in the real world at all, or recognizes me in the real world, that still freaks me out and everything like that, because it should. Because 500,000 people on the internet knowing who I am, as nice as it is, means nothing in terms of the impact of real celebrity and being someone who's in television and movies and stuff like that, because the scale is different. You can have millions. I know people personally that have millions, and also TikTok is not the same as YouTube. And TikTok, the real tea and the real drama is that TikTok took over VidCon. TikTok is like, VidCon is all about TikTokers now. But here's the funny thing. Everyone thinks that TikTokers, because of their scale and their numbers, are close to being real world celebrities because they're thinking of exceptions like Olivia Rodrigo and Bella Poarch, and the D'Amelios and so on and so forth, are now the biggest one, Khaby Lame, props to Khaby. But here's the truth. I know people with 10 times my audience size that are on TikTok. And if we go out, I'm more likely to get noticed or walked up on. And that even happened at VidCon. And y'all have been with me to enough events. No, I'm not trying to flex. I'm trying to make a point that the expectation doesn't translate to the reality. Right. And then also the difference of someone who affords to, because it's not even that, those fans. The difference is the type of person who buys a creator trick ticket, let alone can afford to travel during a pandemic, get on a plane, buy a ticket, afford a hotel. Barrier to entry to being at VidCon is no less than $1,000 if we're being frugal as hell. Yeah. Barrier to entry, unless you already live in LA, unless you already live in Anaheim, it's $1,000, period. and you have to have the disposable time to have time off during the week. That is not most people's situation.
Yeah.
So the people that are most likely to be fans of these people, they might have disposable time to blow on the internet, but do they got cash like that? Probably not. So the real world opportunity for them to connect with their fan base, the barrier to entry is too high to go to an event. But for the fan base that I reach, remember, my entire demographic is mostly people over 30. That's who's going to have the disposable income and ability to afford to do that, which is why literally people with literally 5 to 10 times my audience size were getting less hit up walking through the halls of this empty VidCon, by the way. I was getting hit up more than people much more famous than me because their audience can't access the opportunity in the real world. My audience can. Sean Cannell's audience can. Justin Moore's audience can. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What do you think about this, Audrey?
I think it's like, it depends, right? Like, I think YouTubers probably have a higher chance of having more engaged fans, but it also depends on what you do. Like, obviously, if, like, we could talk about the Michael Reeves example.
Okay.
Like, so Jimmy, one of our friends, went to the Michael Reeves talk, which was at the same time as Jimmy's talk. So apparently there's like 15 people in the room.
And that was, by the way, the same time as the Amazon live talk that I went to.
Yeah. So apparently there was like 15 people maybe in the room. This guy has like what, like
6.7 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And his videos
That
get
just
almost
blew
10 million
I
views.
just don't understand that. That would be unheard of.
People
Like
love him. Like as soon as he drops a video, like everyone's talking about it. Like
it's like 10 million views.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy that there's 15 people in the room, but I think it has to do with the audience at VidCon as well. Like I wouldn't compare, you know, someone could be like, well, Michael Reeves didn't get anyone coming to his talk, neither did the TikTokers. It's the same. I don't think it's the same. I think it's literally just the environment of VidCon.
I think some of it's the same because, again, who's Michael Reeves' audience?
Well, it's kind of the same. Like he probably has like a broader reach, right? So a lot of more
to have those numbers, sure, yeah.
Like young people, but I had to like pause to yell at my cat. There's definitely like some young people.
If their parents can't afford to take them to VidCon, if their parents can't afford to take them to VidCon.
Yeah.
But his audience isn't just like super young people. Like it goes up into the 20s as well.
And most of the people in their 20s in this country are broke as fuck.
I know, but I'm just saying
especially
it's
after
different
inflation.
than like I think if you compared Michael Reeves to a TikToker that had 7 million followers and put them next to each other.
Okay, because I get where you're coming from. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, Mr. Beast was going on at the same time. So why was the Amazon Live thing that I was in?
Because it's a creator track. Like people want to learn things in the
how to make money.
They're not there as fans, you know.
Yeah,
I think like Michael Reeves would have.
That's my point of stop invite. I love Mike. I love Michael, but I'm saying stop inviting people to the creator track that don't have anything to. I'm not saying he doesn't have anything to offer or whatever. Like, but it's like we got Michael Reeves's TED Talk when Graham Stephan interviewed him on the Iced Coffee Hour. We got what we needed out of that, frankly, for free.
Have you guys been?
Because
when was the last time you guys went to Playlist Live?
I have never been to Playlist Live for a reason.
Wow.
For a reason.
Well, Playlist Live is like a VidCon community track on. That's it. Like that's basically.
Yeah,
all.
I mean it's just fans and like hyper celebrities. But I wonder now with the emergence of TikTok how different it is. But
it's probably just more of the steroids.
Yeah. Yeah, it would just be interesting to see the attendance numbers in comparison.
I mean, I think like that's why VidSummit is so good, right? It's because
thank God for VidSummit.
It's like
which I'm speaking
people there who are it's like creator track at VidCon on steroids. You know, like people there are there to learn.
Plus industry
and the talks are more like the talks are more thought out. Like I think if Michael Reeves did talk at VidSummit, the room would be pretty jammed.
That would work. Okay, that could work in theory. That could work in theory.
But he'd have to have like it couldn't be just like a Q&A, you know, like it would have to be like I'm going to talk about
presentation.
one specific thing. Yeah.
Let me ask you something, and this is no offense to Michael. This is no offense to Michael. All right, what do you guys think his talk would be? What would be the title of his talk?
I don't know. I feel like he definitely could do a good talk. I just don't know
What would be
exactly
his
what it
talk?
would
Because I know his story. You guys know his story of how he grew on YouTube and stuff like that, right?
I have to be honest, I've only seen like a handful of
Okay,
his
let me ask you
videos,
this.
just the ones you guys have shown me.
Audrey, you'd know this because we were just talking about the realistic stuff of Ryan Trahan, right? Like,
Hmm.
can someone just become Michael Reeves?
No.
Right.
Michael is so good at programming and stuff. Not everyone can do that.
So, okay, so you can't just be Michael Reeves.
I mean,
Okay.
you technically could if you want to
Technically.
learn programming.
Sure.
If you were going to do that, then you might as well become. If you're going to learn programming and be successful, you might as well become Jeff Bezos or Mark Cuban.
It's probably easier.
Frankly, yeah. I think it'd be easier to dedicate.
No, I mean, I'm not even joking. I
I'm
think
not
that
either.
I think that it would be easier if you
Well, we had a
already
kid.
know. If
There
you
was a kid,
already know
actually,
how to program, right? If you
the
are
youngest
already on
billionaire
that
in
path,
America, the youngest billionaire in America that beat Mark Zuckerberg. I'm forgetting his name, but it was an Asian young man. It's an Asian young man. He is a billionaire now. He built, I think he built Scaled AI Labs or something, or Scale Lab or something like that. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And he took on government contracts and he
Right.
did all this number crunching and making data more actionable and all these things. Like, so and machine learning and all this stuff. Yeah, he learned programming. He's 23, so he's even younger than most of the most successful YouTubers. And he's a billionaire because he learned programming and then decided to do something and get government contracts. Boom, billionaire. Like, so yeah, it's actually more practical to just spend your 20s grinding programming and become you have a very good chance of being a millionaire in your 20s if you go and you program for a solution to market, especially if you do something that gets you a government contract.
Right.
You have a better chance of doing that and making a lot of money and enough money to invest in stocks or startups and stuff like that. And you have a really good chance in your 20s of being a millionaire. And if you did that, you have a really good chance in your 30s or 40s of that scaling to you being a billionaire. So yeah,
you don't even have to go to that level. I mean, like, I
Yeah.
have a friend who he just does like these little micro projects. He has like a ton. Like, if you go to his profile, he has like a bunch of websites because he's built different platforms. He's got like maybe 10 different platforms, but in
If I spent
combination,
all
all of them together is like
Right.
a 7-figure business.
Romina, I'd be a millionaire if I had just spent the entire pandemic instead of wallowing and barely putting out YouTube videos.
Yeah.
If I had spent the entire pandemic affiliate marketing from my bed, SaaS affiliate marketing from my bed,
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
be
No,
sitting on $1
done.
million now.
Yeah.
I would own this house cash now. Like,
Yeah.
that's all it would have
That's
taken.
not even like, it's not even an exaggeration. I know exactly what you're talking about, and absolutely, like 100%. I mean, there are people who did do that during the pandemic, and
Yes.
we see where they are now.
Yes.
And
by that I mean this, guys. By the way, guys, what I mean is this. Literally, if I had focused, there's one affiliate product that I'm actually very good at, very well known for, and no, it's not TubeBuddy. But if I literally just grinded for the last 2.5 years, and this is not that hard, by the way, if you think about it, if I spent 2.5 years, Monday through Friday, doing nothing else but grinding to get customers, all I would need to do is get 1,000 customers of this one SaaS product. And if I get 1,000 customers of this one SaaS product, then the lowest plan pays me a recurring monthly lifetime commission of about roughly $50. So if I get 1,000 people, it means I'd be making $50,000 a month in recurring, truly passive income from a software as a service subscription model, because they're giving me 30% of the account for life from the acquisition, because it's cheaper in theory for them than to buy ads. And they're right. If I proved myself by basically being the best sales affiliate in the company by referring 1,000 people, and again, it's 1,000 people that I probably do have in my ecosystem that would benefit from this product and could afford it easily. Because again, I don't have 1,000 people signed up for this thing. I barely have ever tried, and I have like 50. But if I did,
I mean, to be quite honest, Roberto,
that's all I would have to do.
I mean, you barely push like your affiliates.
Anything,
compared to other friends that I have who also do affiliate marketing, like, you barely push yours. Yours is very like subtle.
Right, which is why I don't make $50,000 a month right now that I could be making. But
Right,
like, but
yeah.
you see my
I
point.
mean,
That's the thing.
unfortunately for us, because maybe we could be recording this podcast like on your yacht or something.
Right? No, I would like maybe
Rip.
not my yacht, but like off of, but we'd be recording it. We'd be recording it probably from like I'd probably
An
rent
island.
something.
Freaking
We'd be doing
something.
something. We'd be doing something. We'd be doing something. It's like,
Audrey.
or maybe we'd rent a yacht. Like, I don't know.
Audrey, when
Yeah.
Roberto's making $50,000 a month off of affiliates, where should we record our podcast?
Airbnb in
I
Hawaii.
ain't moving. Oh.
We're not at okay. Wow. Our friend has managed to make $50,000 a
What?
month in
So every
affiliates,
time
and
we
you say,
film, we
"I'm not
gotta go
moving."
somewhere. Where are we
Who
going?
are you?
Where are we going?
That's what I'm asking you.
Airbnb in Hawaii.
Every month?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. I'm down.
Wow, don't ask questions, Audrey. All right, to bring it back to what your original question, what would Michael's panel be about?
Yeah, what would
Or
Michael's
not
talk?
panel, sorry.
What
talk.
would his talk at Vid Summit be?
What's his
I
presentation?
mean, I would go to a talk if he was talking about like his process with coming up with for videos and stuff. Like how he
Is
makes
that
them.
really out of all the talks you could go to? Is that really? the
I
talk
would go to that because I actually am interested in his process.
Do you think his process is applicable across?
Well, not for everyone, but for me, I think I would find it interesting.
Find it interesting. Okay, if you have to choose.
Hmm.
All right, so if you have to choose, granted, not with the you'll get Roberto nuggets that are specific to you anytime you want because you're Audrey, but like, guys, be very don't kiss up to me, but be very honest. If you're at Vid Summit and it's Michael Reeves' talk and it's my talk, and not because you're my friends, which one do you actually go to?
Neither, because I'm out in the lobby hanging out with other people.
True. That is the truth. So right there.
Fair.
Oh God. I mean, I don't think it's like
Okay, no,
really
but
fair to
but
compare 'cause
in
they're
reality, I
completely
would
different.
probably be at Roberto's talk, front row, at least for like the first 10 minutes, just like for support, and then like as soon as like
Well,
But I'll
50
tell you what my
people come
talk is
in,
about.
then
But
I'll
he's
leave,
saying
right?
if we don't even know him, like if
I'll
the
tell you what my
videos are
talk is about.
completely unbiased.
My talk is about exactly how full-time content creators make their money and how to do it.
And what's Michael's talk about?
It's really hard to do this unbiased because I feel like just
Michael's
from
talk
talking
is
to you guys,
probably
I already
about-
know a lot of
Michael's
this
talk is
stuff.
probably about titles or how to do clickbait. But you're talking about a creator whose lane of doing that is not something that, Audrey admitted, is not something that other people can even duplicate. Yes, it's nice to hear his thought process, but unless you're already someone who can extrapolate from that, but if you were someone who could extrapolate from that, you would have already done it with the free content that exists on YouTube or his interview with Graham Stephan.
Okay, if I didn't know who Roberto was, then I would go to the talk that is about money.
Mm. I really like listening to people's creative process. So I think I would be torn.
I think
because-
it also reflects on like where both of you might be right now
In your creator
There's-
journey.
in your creator journey, which is fair. Because I think also the younger you are, the more it's more interesting to hear, even if it's abstractions, even if you can't apply it. And it makes sense and it's not wrong. When you're younger in general, but also when you're young in your creator journey, or if you're new in your creator journey, hearing people's thought process, experiences, and workflows is inspiring, motivating. It can generate your creative juices and ideas because when you're in that thing, especially when you're already not making money, the main thing is you feel like you're one idea away from changing your life. My thing is, instead of being one idea away from changing your life, I have systems that do it because I don't have the whole, and I've had the experience of, the snowball thing of that changes your life. No, the only thing that's ever changed my life is acquiring skills, deploying them, and acquiring knowledge to deploy them better and in a specific way that makes money. And then using money as a tool to change my life. That's what it has always been. And that's a more real, in my point. So the thing is, I would say that there are creator sessions and things in this creator economy at these, if you go to any of these conferences, and you say, let's say you go to a Justin Moore or Sean Cannell or me, we're all dealing in the realism of the experience of being a content creator and the systems and the methodology and all those things. Even on Ali Abdaal, it's all systems, it's all processes, it's all this very grounded stuff, and it would be applicable. There's not a niche that the information we would present isn't applicable to. And I've coached creators in every niche, by the way. I was just coaching a creator the other day, and I came up with titles for him, and he's a voice actor who's gonna be doing like anime related content and everything like that. And yeah, I'm obviously an anime nerd, but it's like I came up with entire title and thumbnail strategies and everything for him, and I don't make that content. I can teach, I can make someone successful or teach them stuff and never have made the content that they're making. Niche, like personality driven creators, not all of them, but most of them, they do not have the capability to do that. And what they can tell you is they can tell you their story. And even the systems they have is the system they have for making their thing and nothing else. It's the system they have for making their thing and nothing else. And it's probably not applicable for the most part to something else. At best, it inspires or motivates or triggers somebody into making their own thing or something similar, but that's the extent of it. Because you can't, anything that you can't take apart, and again, unless you're the weird type of person who can look at that, internalize it, rip it apart, and take it for yourself. But if you could do that, you would be doing it with free content too. You wouldn't have to buy a $1,200 ticket to do that. You could probably do it for $0. Unless you just need the in-person version of that to feel the energy, if that's how you work. So for me, I just have a hard time justifying spending that kind of money to get inspired by somebody else's process instead of learning a system. Because I feel I can get inspired for $0. Actually, my whole life is me getting inspired for $0.
Yeah, I was just because I was
a little bit of a broke boy. It's like I had to get inspired for $0.
Sure. Yeah. Do you guys feel like the era of conventions is over?
No, the pandemic is ensured. Even if they would deserve to be, they won't be, because now they have novelty because, oh my God, we can go outside and we can hug people.
But do you think that's a strong enough incentive?
It gives it enough time to course correct to create some real value. Because to be fair, event coordinators are finding their footing because they've been virtual this whole time, which probably skewed their perception of everything because it wasn't that hard to get commitments out of people when you did a virtual event. So they had people who live online do an online event. They went with what they probably learned off of that, which was the wrong lessons.
By the way, I don't know if I did specify or not, but like creator conventions, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So like right. So like we're not talking about conventions in general.
But I'm talking about like if you went to virtual VidCon the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And okay.
Did
there's
you?
not.
Yeah, you spoke at the virtual.
I spoke. Right. So like, but like, okay, you can get and garner a different, but if you base everything to do an in-person event off of what you got of the virtual event, you will absolutely learn the long lessons. And that's what I think happened here. So I think that they'll have time from the novelty to course correct over next year and maybe the year after, and then to get it right. Because I think now, we're in person. We saw how things did and didn't work now. Now we're going to course correct because we've been online for 2 years only. And again, I think even colleges are gonna have to learn that lesson. So everybody's learning that, even businesses. So I'm gonna give them some slack on some of these things, because I mean, Vid Summit only had to be virtual for 1 year, and then it went, hey, we're back in person. We're just doing COVID rapid testing on site. And that's why Vid Summit freaking slapped. It's because it only had to take a year off, and it didn't base how it performed in person off of the virtual. It just went back to business as usual. That's why it didn't fall off. And that's why people were so happy with it. And it was one of the first events people got to go back to. So it didn't have a chance to fall off. VidCon did that, but VidCon was also under new management. So it had never had a chance to have its true transition. It had to do of yeah. So like, I'm gonna give them some slack. I'm gonna give them another year to get there.
Well, I'm not, because I'm the bad cop.
Oh, I feel like I think the one thing with like conventions that is kind of worrying me is that it feels like there's almost a huge separation now between like fan conventions and creator conventions. Like VidCon is supposed to be the merging of both, but like I feel like the creators were barely even at the convention center. Like, like the
Yeah.
people who
Ever
could get
since
into
they
the
started
hotel were
to-
there. Like it wasn't.
No, what they all did, because they like, especially since they invited so many new creators that blew up during the pandemic,
Mhm.
most of them stayed at the creator hotel, fanboying and fangirling over people more famous than them or that they grew up watching. And that's where they spent most of their time, is the inside
Mhm.
baseball and the tea that I got. Plus, since my more famous friends actually managed on the last day to sneak me into the creator hotel, the Hyatt, I got to see for myself that what it was that's what they were all about, and that's where they were, and they were all about that life. They were all about that Hyatt life and about being over there the entire time, and they were doing their real for real networking and doing their collabs and doing their thing and stuff like that, and they weren't about that. And a lot of them didn't bother to do meetups or do fan stuff or do any of this or do any of that, and that's where a lot of it. And so now me, what I did, I spent most of the time, if I wasn't with other creators, I spent my time with brands, talking that talk, making them deals. I mean, Audrey, I mean, we were at a party and everything like that. Thank you for the intro, by the way, that you made. Really appreciate that. But it's like, yeah, I'm about to work out at deal with that company from that party, and it's going to be great for me, So thank you for your help with that. By the way, from that party, I have another, if you do want an editing client, I do have a famous YouTuber who could use some editing help. But the, you like her, but she's dope. You've probably seen her stuff before. But the thing is, I go there and I give to the community, but I also go there and I'm there. Yeah, I'll keep going to VidCon. I'll keep going to VidCon as long as I can keep going in person to lunch with brands and have brands feed me breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is all I do. Is like it's like creators
there
actually
for the
free food.
for the spread.
Well, what happens is creators take me out to
strategy.
Creators offer to take me out to coffee in the morning and end up buying me breakfast.
Yeah.
And then brands feed me lunch, and then they invite me to a party for dinner. I'm there for the food.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting there. I'm like,
Roberto's got his calendar, and he just sees what slot is empty. He's like, nobody's asked me for lunch on Wednesday yet.
Yeah.
Let me reach out. Let me reach out to someone and see what's up.
Feed the Roberto. That's the answer.
I guess I don't know. I feel like VidCon is so cloudy. I don't care at all about that aspect. It's like if you can't get into the Hyatt, you're kind of just stuck. It's so dumb. Like I feel like I feel like VidCon is almost disparity between both is getting so big that it's almost
all about
really
that clout.
frustrating
Gang.
Clout related, and it's like
cloud over everything. That's the VidCon way.
Track is suffering.
Cloud over everything. Yeah, the creator track is suffering for it. Industry track is where some deals and big wigs and that stuff gets done because it's an all access pass. The industry track.
I love that big wigs is still a thing.
Yeah.
Like, ain't nobody wearing wigs, but
well, you can't say nobody. But
true.
But yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. So I did see that transition happen. And I've been to both Playlist Live and VidCon like in the same year.
Best conference in the game is Vid Summit, homies.
And Vid Summit is definitely the best conference now for creators. In terms of fans, I still feel like VidCon is a better deal than Playlist.
Really?
Because Playlist feels there's too much of a separation. And so
they have like a concert venue, so it's
right.
Like celebrity
so they have
stuff,
like the performances, they have the concerts, they have the signings and the autograph signings and stuff like that. They have the meetups, but it's all very, very controlled. So they have like the lines. So you have to get in a line to get an autograph. So you don't really have like an opportunity to run into a creator like you do at VidCon, where you might be able to spend, 20 or 30 minutes talking with them, as opposed to just like being in a line, getting an autograph and saying, hey, thanks. Like, I really love like this one thing. And then being like, okay, bye, selfie. And then that's it.
The only reason I'd go to Playlist is if I have friends who are going to be there.
Right. And so for me, like every time that I went to playlist, I had the badge that would allow me access to
If
go
there's a
into all of those
brand,
times.
yeah, if there's a
I never
brand
went
that I
as a
want to meet,
fan. So it was a
yeah,
very different experience for me in that term, in those terms. But if you are a fan, you can't go to the same areas where all of the creators are.
yeah.
And so there's no way to like break that barrier like there is at VidCon. Now, I will say that VidCon has transformed from being more of that middle ground that Audrey was talking about, where there is um, more of a space where creators can engage with other creators and can engage with their audience. Those lines are starting to blur, and it's becoming a lot more like in terms of being able to hang out with all of them. It's disappearing, and so um I wonder if I mean, obviously Viacom has something to do with that. Um, but also there's the emergence of TikTok. And I wonder if like VidCon is just going to go more towards that route of like the short form content video creators and kind
I
of
think
push
that'd
for
be a
that.
mistake.
No, I agree. But that is essentially what they did this year.
There's not going to be, aside from the tippy top, tippity top. I am telling you,
Mm.
there will be no such thing as a vertical video viral short form content creator that has a decade plus career. The end. I'm telling you, it is something that does not lend itself to longevity. It does not. If you're not Cobby Lane, if you're not Dixie and Charlie, if you're not Bella Porch, if you're not Olivia Rodrigo, if you're not, I don't even, is Jacob Sartorius even relevant anymore? There's no such thing. I'm telling you, unless you make the transition to Twitch or YouTube, there's no such thing as a decade-long career in making viral short-form videos. Like, if you're not going to move to those things, or unless you're Ray William Johnson, like, but he didn't start with vertical viral short-form video, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like he's been in this industry from the beginning. Ray William Johnson will be able to be in a few short years, in like 3 years. This man will be able to say he's had a 20 long year career as an internet content creator. He's going to be able to say that. Hank is going to be able to say that. These people who have
That's
like
wild.
2 million, these people who currently have, that blew up during the pandemic, that have 2 million and 5 million that came from TikTok, if they don't manage to make themselves relevant in YouTube or Twitch, you're not going to know who they are in 3 years. You're not going to know who they are in 2 years, probably. You're definitely not going to know who they are in 10. And frankly, TikTok doesn't have 10 years of cultural relevance left in it. It will be the next Snapchat. I effing promise you that TikTok does not have cultural relevance and not cultural dominance in 2030. In 2030, YouTube and Spotify will still be here. YouTube and Spotify will still be household name, international name, will still be massively relevant. And I'm telling you, in 2030, TikTok probably doesn't even exist. And if it does, it's not any different than Snapchat at that point in terms of its cultural dominance and power and relevance. Snapchat was putting people on and people were eating for a minute. And what the hell happened to them? Name anybody that was a Snapchat influencer or a Snapchat celebrity that is still crushing it and everything like that. No one even barely talks about DJ Khaled anymore. No one hardly even talks about DJ Khaled anymore. Sean Doris is great because he transitioned to YouTube.
I've kind of stopped comparing like YouTube and TikTok. I think they're just completely different mediums. I don't think short form's going anywhere.
They are. It's like, it's not that short form is going anywhere. It's that it already has. It's no longer a novelty. Every platform has it. So now it's not special. But the difference is,
it's not unique to that platform.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what is unique to TikTok? Its vulnerability and potential threat of sanctions by any country in the world, including the Department of Defense with America. every other platform, you don't have to worry about whether every other platform will be banned from the United States of America every time there's an election.
Your face.
Taiwan,
No, you're not wrong.
China makes a move on Taiwan tomorrow. TikTok's over. Because of sanctions. If China makes a move on Taiwan, every TikToker career is over tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, done.
That's it.
Yeah,
no mass. Over.
Wait, Audrey said something. Audrey, you got to get closer to the mic. Like
hello. Is that close enough?
You said something about an algorithm.
No, I was saying like I feel like the YouTube Shorts is still behind in terms of viewership and maybe not viewership, but like
no, it actually just finally crushed them in viewership, 5 trillion views.
Or at least in like Western culture, they're definitely behind because trends start on TikTok and then they come to Shorts. But I'll be
how long do you think
like where it is in like 2 years because
how
if they
long
can get better at it. Then.
Trends start on.
Do you think that trends start there because of the demographic, because of the age?
Yes, I think it's also just because more like small stuff gets viewed more organically. Like everything I see on YouTube Shorts is like highly produced, larger channels. For the most part.
TikTok doesn't hand out play buttons, they're done.
I mean, I think it's like I was talking to someone about this. Why hasn't YouTube done like what they do with streamers, where they give people contracts? Like, why aren't they doing that with TikTok?
They do. Oh, TikTok doesn't, but YouTube gives people contracts.
Yeah, but have they given any TikTokers exclusivity contracts that only make shorts?
Why would they?
To try and get the culture shift moving, because all the like culture starts over there.
They don't need to. All that content is finding its way to YouTube and to Instagram.
What
and it's
TikTokers
costing them.
Are like actually posting TikToks on YouTube and not repurposed YouTube videos?
No, it doesn't matter if they're repurposed, Audrey, because you can get the same content that the TikTokers are making. They're putting that on YouTube. If they're smart, if they're not stupid, they're putting it on YouTube and they're putting it on Instagram. If they're not, because they're also trying to get as much money off of the same video as possible. And if anyone who's loyal to TikTok is a moron. Like I'm dead ass serious.
Well, the thing is that it's
you're
not
making
even
vertical videos and you're not posting them everywhere you can, and you're not milking it on YouTube, Snapchat, and Instagram, and you're specifically a vertical video content creator, you're a moron because you shouldn't have any platform loyalty with that format. And TikTok made me, and so I'm loyal to like that is an idiot's proposition. That is a fool's proposition. They are morons, and that's why when they thought Trump was going to ban it, they had to like scramble and have a panic attack. So here's the thing. Here's the truth. Here's the truth. At the end of the day, they know YouTube isn't going away and isn't getting anywhere. And they know at the end of the day, there's nobody who wouldn't rather. Look, it doesn't matter how big you are on TikTok. You either have a silver or gold YouTube play button or you don't. Like from a real talk, in terms of the leverage, the access, and the social proof. If you want to care about clout, there's no greater clout than a YouTube play button. There's no amount of having Twitch subs. There's no amount of having TikTok followers. There's no amount of having Instagram followers that matches having a silver, gold, or diamond play button from YouTube.
Okay, wait. One of the things that I think is unique to TikTok right now is the fact that like people who don't want to be traditional creators, like people who don't want to be a YouTuber or they don't want to do social media forever, can get their start on TikTok and get a network and then do whatever else it is that they want.
If you want to play that game, you can play that game on any platform.
I disagree with that.
Oh, really? You don't think that people literally, without becoming famous and becoming a traditional content creator, you don't think that people literally have made networks and made millions off of? Hang on.
Well,
you don't think
I don't think she's negating that. I think she's saying that it's just a lot more
easier
accessible to do it on.
Yeah, it's more accessible for like a kid who's in late teens or early 20s to pitch something to a wide audience and then get opportunities based off of that, just because it reaches more eyeballs organically on TikTok. Like that just doesn't happen on Reels or on YouTube.
No, but it happens on LinkedIn if people actually have something to offer. When you're talking about kids doing it, it's kids being able to do it.
Yeah, but LinkedIn isn't cool, Roberto.
But like LinkedIn, how are you going to post like an example for like a TV show on LinkedIn? Like, I feel like it's impossible to get people to actually view that.
No, if you want to.
Because
Well,
there has
LinkedIn-
to be some sort of social proof. Like a network isn't going to reach out to you if you don't get,
Do you
some
know
sort
how?
of
Do you know
views
how?
or
Do you know how
numbers.
you did it? And they didn't. And it's not about. It's not even about going viral. Ryan Weber got to work for Lucasfilm back in the day. He never got a silver play, but he never even got more than I think 20,000 subscribers on YouTuber. He's still an industry, an Emmy Award winner. He's an Emmy Award winner by the time he's 27, twice, two-time Emmy Award winner by the time he's 27.
Yeah, but
I know this
now
because we're the
that's
same
how
age.
that's how everything, like, if you don't do it, someone else will. Like someone else will get the TikTok views. Someone else will get in contact with someone to pitch a show, and they'll get it because that's how like people are looking for
People
stuff
are,
now.
to be frank, in most, with very, very few exceptions, if people are taking their show pitches from young TikTokers, and then the Disney stock tanks or like the Netflix thing gets canceled after one season and everything, they have it coming. And I don't say that to be dismissive of every young person on earth ever, but it's like, all right, let me ask you this. With very few exceptions, I'm not talking about the rare exceptional diamonds in the rough. Do you really think that just because people are going viral on TikTok and even if they're building those networks, do you really think most of that's merit-based?
I think it can't be. Again, it really just depends.
I'm
on
saying
what
it
is
can
that
be,
they
but do you think the majority of it is, or is it just more fucking clout bullshit?
No, I think a lot of it, like I'm thinking of two examples right now. Like there's one person I met who was a fashion student and she started making TikToks about like analyzing or making like outfits for celebrities, and she went viral on TikTok doing that. And now she was hired to be like an assistant, what's it called, stylist on a Netflix show. And so
Yeah.
she's working now doing that stuff. And I'm like, that
So-
wouldn't have happened if she posted on LinkedIn asking Netflix for a job.
But that's
Like,
not
she's
what
a
you would.
student,
That's not what you would post on.
That's not what you do on LinkedIn. You would do the same thing. You would post videos. Actually, video content on LinkedIn performs very well.
And
I'm
it
just
performs,
saying, I
and it
don't think
reaches
without
people
the,
who are
like-
decision makers, and you don't need to go viral for it. You don't need to go viral for it because one view is the right view. That's it. And the thing is, with LinkedIn, those views are more targeted.
When I was posting on LinkedIn, I got such amazing engagement. I mean, I just stopped on it because I was posting on YouTube like 2 to 3 times a week, and I was doing Twitter, I was doing Instagram. It was too many things for me. But the level of engagement that I was getting on LinkedIn, and it was very specific. So I was posting videos about remote work. I was talking about very specific things in terms of working for yourself, being an entrepreneur. So it was very specific. But it spoke to the demographic that was following me on LinkedIn. And so I think that I have like the majority of the contacts, the what is it called? Followers, I guess they call it now.
And it's also your.
It was
Romina, like,
connections
when was
before.
this?
You
Yeah.
can have both. No, you can have
You
both.
know,
You can
like-
have.
But now they have
connections.
followers.
You
Yeah.
can have both. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And
just
so-
saying, I'm not saying that's not possible. It's just, I think now, like, TikTok is what's popular.
If you're a
and where
goofy
people are
kid,
going.
you can go onto TikTok, and with very little meritocracy needed, if you can just get attention for being a goofy kid and being a cut up or being wildly entertaining or whatever, then yeah, you can build a network without actually having to be smart.
I
Or
mean, that's
strategic,
true,
or
but I also
strategic,
think it's
or
a great
strategic.
place to, like,
Yay.
pitch
Do you
yourself.
feel like
if you want to do
someone
any
can,
type of
so
like
someone can
creative
accomplish
career-
things without having to be
Wait,
thoughtful.
Audrey's
Yay.
saying something.
No, I'm just
barely
saying, like,
hear
I
her.
think now, like, it's how was I have to get the
I don't know why, Audrey, but you're
I don't
like
know.
so much lower than Roberto.
I don't
but-
know. Okay, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to do any type of creative career and you don't want to be a creator necessarily, then like I think TikTok is the best place to essentially pitch yourself because you're gonna get eyeballs. Say you're a
Are
kid, you
you
don't have any
saying-
sort of LinkedIn network at all, and you
Are
just
you
want to get your
saying
stuff
that
up.
people are like that Netflix is picking up like show ideas on TikTok? Is this what you're saying?
I
essentially?
would not doubt that happening in the next couple years.
Then Netflix stock, I'm gonna short Netflix's stock then, because they're effing
like,
idiots.
You know, a lot of young people watch Netflix. I don't think it's too crazy. I don't know if I would hire a director who's 19.
A lot of people.
I'm just saying. I
pirate-
think
a lot
like,
of people watch Netflix from the password of the person of their friend or their parents paying for it.
so.
So
What?
that's not how you. That's why making decisions like that is why their stock is trash right now, and their stock was trash before the recession set in. And the same with Disney. It's because everyone thinks that they're a blessed genius.
Like
The
what's
minute
that
they
other
leave
guy?
high school.
Do you guys
The minute they
know,
leave high school, everyone thinks they're a genius when they leave high school now.
I just want to give you another example. Do you guys know the this guy's name or his handle is Guy with a Movie Camera?
I think I've
No.
heard of him.
So he basically started off as like a PA and making videos about working as a PA. And now he's getting hired to basically be like a host. I don't even know what you call it, like a host. He basically promotes like movies and stuff and goes behind the scenes and
Yeah, that's a
does
host.
promotion
That sounds
for
like a
brands.
host, yeah.
And
And
it's
how
really
much
cool
of that
'cause
do you
he
think has to
started
do?
on TikTok? Like if
No,
got
he
on
started
LinkedIn
by
and
being a
asked to be
PA.
host, it wouldn't work.
No, he started by being a PA because there's nothing interesting about him if he's not already a PA
Well,
working
yeah.
in Hollywood to get him
But
opportunities.
he made the videos about it, you know, and now he's
worked if he had
definitely
done it on
getting paid
YouTube.
way better than a PA is.
It would have worked if he had done it on YouTube. He
I
could
don't
have
think
done
it
it on
because
YouTube.
how'd you package that on YouTube?
Oh, so many ways, and so many people could do it and everything like that. So one of the
I don't
things he
know if
could
you
have done.
could package that as easily and got the amount of reach that he did.
No, I
If-
understand what
yes,
it
you
is
can,
that you're
because
saying.
you could, if nothing else, you could do bloody YouTube
Mhm.
shorts. You could do bloody YouTube shorts. There's nothing. What's the difference? What's the like? If it's
I don't think those
reach,
shorts
if it's
would have worked
reach,
as well.
if it's reach, because who's the network on TikTok? Who's the network on TikTok? Other 20-something-year-olds who happen to be in
No,
positions
there's a
of power
lot
to
of
make a
brands
decision,
looking there now, and like people at brands.
Brands.
and they're not on YouTube.
Well, they probably are, but like, how are you supposed to pitch yourself as a host for movies and stuff in a YouTube short? This
You don't even have to do it
packaging
as a
is
YouTube
insane.
short. There was never TikTok, and Sarah Dietschy got the same opportunities to be a host at Vulture and red carpet events and everything like that off of YouTube and Instagram without TikTok even existing at the time. It was still Musically.
I'm not saying it's not possible to do it both ways. I just think now it's a lot easier and it's like the most.
I think
accessible
because
way to do
people
it.
can. I think. Here's what I believe. Here's my problem with TikTok, and here's what I believe. I believe that if TikTok went away tomorrow, let's say China, God forbid, invades Taiwan tomorrow, TikTok goes away, every one of these TikTokers will lose their mind and won't know what the hell to do with themselves because they do not have the capacity to think. 90% of them, not all of them, 90% of them will lose their minds because of the thing you're saying. I think they believe it. I don't think it's true. I think people in your generation believe it's true because once they see something like TikTok and then, oh, it's easy and it's on easy mode, they don't have the capacity anymore to think outside the box to say, how can I do something without this now? I guess it's over. I guess I will work a regular job at McDonald's and give up on my dreams because now I can't play the game on easy mode anymore.
I mean, I think all creators should be on multiple platforms. That's just
I know we don't disagree on that, but I think that, look, everyone listen to me on this one. Milk TikTok if you can right now for the next 3 years, I promise you, because then you're going to be at its funeral and you're going to be sad. I'm not.
But you have to diversify your investments.
But I will be handing out, but I will be conciliatory and I will literally, drinks are on me. Drinks are on me. And, we'll mourn TikTok's passing together, and drinks
Pour
are on
one
me.
out for TikTok.
We'll pour
Honestly,
one out
I
for
feel
TikTok.
like if TikTok disappeared, there'd just be another replacement that would pop
It's
up.
called YouTube Shorts. And it's called Instagram Reels. There's
YouTube
no
Shorts does
reason.
not impress me enough
But you
yet.
don't think
The
that you don't think that
around
the same
TikTok
creators
will die.
Right. You don't think so if TikTok were to disappear tomorrow, you don't think that all of those creators who are on there who want to continue making short form content that they won't transfer over to YouTube
I think they
Shorts
would because it's
or
the only
Reels?
option.
They're gonna be
I just
crybabies
don't know
about
if
it.
the culture would be the same because
Well,
it just
it doesn't-
doesn't work the same way as TikTok.
Well,
does.
guess what?
No, the culture
Cultures-
will be different. I mean, they'll have to adapt.
The
Yeah.
culture
Right.
will inevitably effing die, and everyone should expect it because Vine had a unique culture.
Yeah.
True or false? Vine had a specific
Mhm.
unique culture and has not been resurrected since. It died literally on the Vine. Snapchat had a culture, and the people who want that are still hanging on and everything, keeping hope alive over there. Snapchat had a unique culture. It still does. And guess what? It wasn't enough to save the platform and
Yeah.
keep it relevant and keep it culturally relevant and dominant. There's no Snapchat presence at a single creator conference. There's not a single creator conference where Periscope had a culture. Periscope had a goddamn culture. Where is it now? Culture will not save a platform. Not when it's a unique feature, when its uniqueness becomes ubiquity, when it's any utility it has becomes ubiquity. When you can get the same thing anywhere else and all it has left is the culture, cultures shift, cultures fade, cultures die, people move on. What the culture was in 2015, that doesn't exist today. There's still people clinging and holding on and wishing to go back, but it's gone. It's dead. It's over. The culture we had literally in 2018 is dead and gone and buried. We poured one out for it already. It's over. Culture doesn't last. Culture doesn't last. When the world was static before things like viral, and by the way, viral short form video itself guarantees culture dies sooner and has less permanence because it encourages a mindset in a world that doesn't value permanence.
Right.
So by its own hand, it will die by its own hand. It will commit seppuku. And I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly, that it'll destroy itself. It'll destroy itself. And that's the truth. I believe that long form is where longevity is, and we will still have YouTube, and we will still have Twitch, and we will still have Spotify. And I don't know, vertical short form isn't going anywhere. It already has gone where it's going to go, to every platform embracing it. And now TikTok has all these massive vulnerabilities that other companies don't have, and no uniqueness. It doesn't pay the best for short form viral video. So it already faces the problem of creators saying, you know what, I don't have to be exclusive. And to your own point, Audrey, they're not giving people contracts to say, hey, be exclusive with us. They're not giving people contracts. They've made the TikTok Pulse 100,000 followers. So it's wildly inaccessible. Almost no one can get into it. You're better off trying to get 1,000 subs in YouTube, as much as people complain about that. So it's inaccessible. Every other short form vertical video platform pays better, is going to be around longer. There's no conflict because they're owned by US companies. You don't have to have anxiety about the politics of it. And then on top of that, you don't have to worry because there's a big concern coming out that it's massively inflated with bots. Whereas the other platforms, yes, they have bots, but not to the same extent. And why? Because of the US and the fiduciary and the shareholder thing and stuff like that. The only two platforms that have to worry about bots to the extent that they do are TikTok and Twitter. And Elon's about to clean up Twitter. So like there's so many problems and vulnerabilities with TikTok that at the end of the day, let's say if you do YouTube Shorts, you don't even have to stop doing TikTok. You can do YouTube Shorts like Max the Meat Guy, get a silver or gold play button, have another option, double dip, make more money, have more monetization schemes through YouTube, and now you're diversified and you're hedged. And what are you going to do? You're going to value TikTok for culture and you're like, there's no network that TikTok offers you that a silver or gold play button in YouTube doesn't.
Yeah. I think what's important here is that like we're not discouraging people from creating on TikTok, but more so hedging against the inevitable
not being
downfall
loyal to or beholden to or not being emotionally. I think that people have too much of an emotional investment in TikTok.
Right, exactly. Because there is a it is a void that it fills in terms of like, I mean, like when it really started to kick off, people were like, oh man, like this is kind of like, it reminds me of Vine in the same way that it's like, it's the culture that's like within that app that you find it within that app. Right. But I mean, if anything, I feel that the way that creators make content is what's going to evolve and change, but not so much so that hanging on to the culture, but longer form content. Like if we're talking about stuff like VR and AR, and we're talking about the metaverse, and we're talking about creating, because someone's going to have to create content for these platforms, right? And if we're talking about creating for these platforms, it's going to open up a whole new way of expressing ourselves through video. And it's something that we haven't seen before. And we are going to need a platform and an avenue to post this content on, right?
The metaverse is the only challenger potentially really to YouTube besides Spotify, because at the end of the day,
if we're thinking about it, like
all roads
lead
back to YouTube, and if not, they're going to lead to either YouTube, the metaverse, or Spotify, because that's it. Because like at the end of the day, who wants to put this much effort into this stuff outside of a limited window of time? Like you said, okay, a limited window of time, Audrey, where maybe you do this, you get attention, you get a network, and then, I'm off to a job. Okay, cool. But that's not even what most people are trying to do. Let's be honest. Most people are out here, they're trying to hope that this lets them become a full-time content creator. And again, I think they have a better shot. Obviously, you have a much better chance.
I mean, I agree. I just think it's something to not be dismissed. Like, I do think the opportunity there is really, really big, and it
agree
should
with
be
you.
like
I'm telling people the window.
acknowledged for what it is. You know,
There,
Let me
there's
ask this.
definitely like those opportunities are definitely there, because I can see where both of you are coming
Yeah.
from, right? Because like Roberto, like in the example of the guy who was like the PA guy, right, and is now hosting the show. He got that opportunity not just because he posted on TikTok, but because he was already doing the work offline. He was a PA, he was already networking, and he already had the experience of being on set. And so these are certain skills that not just anybody who's posting on TikTok has, right? And so he could have gotten to that same position within the next 10 to 15. No, he could. No, wait.
Kids who are talented.
Because the job wouldn't have existed. Like, his job
No, but
is
here's
on
what I'm
TikTok.
saying. But let me finish. So he would have gotten, he
That would have
could,
ended
if
up
he
on YouTube
wanted to,
Shorts.
if he wanted to, he could have gotten that same position within the next 10 to 15 years doing the work offline. But because he put himself out there,
Probably 5.
But the job doesn't like
I'm saying this is like the long term, like
Wait,
like
when you say the job doesn't exist, Audrey, what do you mean the job doesn't?
He works almost like as a creator for companies doing like promotional behind the scenes.
The job would
posting
exist.
content.
What do you think Mario
That
Lopez
exists.
does?
But like, how do you get there as a PA? Like, I just don't.
How
see
did
that
Mario
that's
Lopez
realistic,
get there?
because they wouldn't even want that type of promotion.
People have been doing it
because it
yes,
lives on TikTok.
On YouTube. If it wasn't TikTok, it would be YouTube or it'd be Instagram. If it wasn't TikTok,
it would be good old fashioned auditioning.
No, he's doing like short, like TikTok specific trends in his videos. Like the type of advertising he's doing.
If
There's
it wasn't
no way
TikTok,
he could have gotten there from being a PA unless he got extremely.
If it wasn't TikTok, it would be YouTube. It would be YouTube, because these same people that are putting budgets into doing this content for TikTok, Audrey, if they didn't have TikTok, the budget would still go somewhere, and it would most likely be YouTube, because TikTok is the old.
Like, that's a completely different type of content, though. Like, he would have to be a creator and get his content sponsored and do something filmmaking related.
Not necessarily. Well, Gary Vee got onto Ellen DeGeneres and Conan O'Brien with 20,000 subscribers for a goddamn wine show, when YouTube was nothing. When YouTube was not a household name.
Send you guys his account, because like I think the point I'm trying to make is the type of videos he does are completely TikTok specific. It wouldn't.
Then it would have been Snapchat, because the same type of person that's doing all this stuff on TikTok and everything like that, probably at some point, if they are not too young, would have been. Or if TikTok didn't exist, they would have been on Snapchat, or they would have been on Vine. That's just how it is. They would have been on Snapchat, or they would have been Vine, or they would have been on the next thing that comes along, the next shiny object for young people who felt they missed the boat or don't feel good enough for YouTube. I say it matters because it's like, this kid that you're talking about, if he was going to be successful, he would just be successful. The vehicle wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. He would still end up being successful, even if it's not exactly what he's doing now. Even if it's not exactly what he was doing now. Like, Audrey, if YouTube didn't exist, people ask me, what would you do if YouTube doesn't exist? If YouTube didn't exist, it would have been podcasting for me.
But like,
it would have been
my point is, like, he has this opportunity because of TikTok, and it's something that's really
he has this opportunity because he was someone who was going to be successful.
Because he put himself out there.
Well,
there are plenty of PAs that don't.
Like, I'm saying, this job wouldn't exist without TikTok, and it's
then it would have been something else where someone made use of his talents.
But I don't think that's relevant.
I mean, it's like here's the thing. So it's just like it's just like any other platform in terms of it's from what you're saying about the show specifically. It kind of reminds me of like Tosh.0.
I don't want to compare it to stuff because you guys don't know what I'm talking about.
No, that's just because this is just another culture argument. This is just another culture argument. If TikTok didn't exist, every single ad dollar in TikTok would find its way split between YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. True or false? Every single ad dollar that exists in TikTok right now would be allocated somewhere else. True or false?
Well,
True.
Yeah.
So that means this: if people were serious about being content creators, whether TikTok exists or not, they would have found their way to TikTok or another platform. If it wasn't TikTok, they'd be on fucking Triller. If it wasn't TikTok, they'd be on Triller with the Paul brothers.
I still don't think this is like relevant to my argument because I'm like, his job is TikTok specific. the one that he's currently doing, regardless if he could have done something
Okay,
else.
so
The what ifs could go
you don't
on
think
forever.
you don't think the company would make content if TikTok didn't exist?
The what?
The
The company
company.
he works for, would the company he works for make
He doesn't
content
work
if
for a
TikTok?
company.
So what's the job if he doesn't work for a company?
He
What's the job?
does. He's basically a creator who gets sponsored to work as a host for like every large streaming company.
So those are companies. Okay, so those companies wouldn't be making content if TikTok didn't exist?
Well, they would, but like, how many big companies like Paramount are sponsoring YouTubers?
Plenty of them.
lot.
Plenty
Like
of them,
YouTube
actually.
videos?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like I have a friend who Megan, she goes to premieres and she does like hosting and she interviews people. She's like an OG YouTuber.
But okay, think about like the marketing of like.
Paramount is a Viacom company.
Yeah.
Paramount is a Viacom company.
Wait, what were you
that,
gonna
right?
say? Wait, Audrey.
I just
what
want
were
to say,
you-
like, as like a marketing person, if I wanted to
Mhm.
target the younger audience of today, right, like younger people, to get them aware of a movie, I would
Yeah.
rather hire this guy who's on TikTok who's going to make a trend with the actors and like do a fun video that's probably going to get millions of likes than sponsor like a one-off YouTube video for the same price.
People do sponsor one-off YouTube videos and they get more out of them on average, number one. Number two,
But like, there's
YouTube
different types of
analytics
marketing.
are
It's like,
undeniable. YouTube
But I
analytics
think
are
the thing is
undeniable.
that people
Let me
are
ask you
still
this.
doing. I think the point
Audrey.
is that she's making is that
Culturally.
people are doing it. That these brands are paying for this.
yes,
Yeah.
like this is something that exists and that is doing like super well and is being really profitable for creators on TikTok.
It's good,
I
like
just-
for now.
Multiple
And they
truths
should-
Right,
can
but it's just
exist.
because it
I
exists
agree.
They can be
now.
working on
I exist,
multiple
but
platforms.
guess
I'm
what?
just like,
And you
these
don't,
are
and you don't
things
think
that are
that,
happening.
and so before
Wait, what?
TikTok existed and it was viable to use influencers on TikTok, you don't think that Paramount was handing out bags as a Viacom
Well, they were
company,
because there was no other option.
and you don't think
Right.
that you think that all of their budget is allocated to TikTok and they don't
I
have
don't
the
think
same
it's all
people
of
doing the
it. I'm
same,
just. I
Or do
think
you
my
think-
argument is like there are these
or
opportunities
you
that are
don't think that
unique
they're
to
spending
TikTok that
more with
exist.
Instagram? If you're a marketer,
Mhm.
and you can have somebody promote something for you, and somebody with 1 million Instagram followers, and somebody with 5 million TikTok followers offer you the same price, which one do you pick?
Depends on who the audience is. If I want to be relevant in culture, I'm going on TikTok,
I disagree.
especially with like young people.
I disagree, especially with the I disagree. There's not a single high schooler that doesn't have an Instagram account. Not a
Yeah, but
single
no
one.
one watches reels.
You don't know that. But so, by the way,
Somebody does.
stories, guess what? Ads run in stories. More, not reels as much. That's why reels creators are still trying to make
I have
some
a
money.
friend.
Stories.
I have a friend who's living in Paris right now. He was just in Thailand and he's living in Paris now. And his full-time job is Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, these things can all exist at the same
And by
time.
the way,
I'm
as a
just saying,
marketer,
just like YouTube has unique sponsorship opportunities, just like Instagram
as a
does.
marketer,
Wait,
as
let
a
her finish the
marketer?
sentence. Hold on.
Okay.
What?
Like all these platforms have unique ways that they market and like do sponsorships, and TikTok isn't an exception. I think that's the point I'm trying to make.
If you
Is
have
that
to
they
bet
have
your,
their unique type of marketing that is specific and powerful that we
Mhm.
can't just like dismiss because it literally is.
I'm
No,
not
I don't
dismissing
think
it
we're
entirely.
dismissing it. Yeah.
I'm not entirely. I'm dunking on it though, because here's the
Right.
thing: if you have to bet your life on the accuracy of analytics, and it's literally you have to bet your life, you have to choose TikTok's analytics or YouTube's analytics. Which one do you stake your life on?
YouTube.
YouTube.
And it's not even close. It's not even a question. If you have to choose between the accuracy even of TikTok and Instagram's analytics, which one do you stake your life on?
Oh, Instagram.
Right. Even with everyone dunking on Zucks and everything like that. Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And we all know it. So when we get past the emotional arguments for the culture, and I get it. And young people love it. I know they do. But here's the thing. I just don't believe that it's going to last. And I don't believe that will last forever. And I think a big part of it is that in terms of being paid in platform, because not everyone is fortunate enough to get brand deals and sponsorship and everything, which is basically the only way you can make money, real good money off of TikTok because of the nature of creator funds. again, all roads lead back to YouTube. And yes, things can simultaneously exist, but often when the uniqueness or the novelty is gone and you can do the same thing anywhere else. I mean, let's be real. Between all of us, which if you could have a YouTube Shorts channel, if you have a YouTube Shorts channel with 1 million subscribers, or you could have a TikTok account with 1 million followers, which one do you choose?
I mean,
I would want.
I agree with all this. I feel like this is irrelevant to the point I was trying to make.
No, I understand. No, I think we get the point that you're trying to make, is that TikTok exists and it is a viable form of marketing right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
I think
yeah.
we don't disagree with that. I think what we're
I
saying
think
is
it's like
that
more. I think the aspect of culture being deemed as just like an emotional thing is not accurate, because I think it is a lot. It's literally like driving the music industry right now. Like, I
For
think
how
that's,
long? How long does anyone that is built off of the culture last?
I mean, if you want to look at the music industry as an example, all the top hits are basically
Right.
trending
Okay.
on TikTok.
All right. Let me ask you this. Are the Viners not basically, for the most part, with the exception of the Pauls who refuse to die? Tell me something. Aren't almost all the Viners on their way out?
I mean, I don't know why we're talking.
It's
I
no,
feel
I'm
like I'm
asking
trying
this
to make
because
a
watch
point,
this.
and then we're like
No,
going back
I
to. I
want to-
agree that
wait.
YouTube's the
Okay,
best.
what
Like,
point
I will
are you
not
trying to
falter
make
on
that?
that.
What
I'm
point
just
are you
trying to
that-
get you guys to like.
wait. Let us
It's
wait. What
like
point are you trying to
TikTok
make that you
has,
feel we
like-
don't understand?
I feel like you guys are dismissing some of the strengths of TikTok as just culture instead of like, because like literally the comparison of
Okay, what
LinkedIn
else
to
is it not?
TikTok to me doesn't make sense at all. Like, in today's landscape, if you want to get your footing in the door as like a creative person.
Here's my counter argument. The reason the comparison exists, and the reason what I think I'm saying, the validity of where I'm coming from, Audrey, is okay. A person has finite amount of time. We all agree to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a limited amount of time, limited amount of energy, limited amount of your youth and your focus and all those things. So you can pick a place to build your career. You can pick a platform to build your career on. You have finite options because it doesn't scale or work as well to try to do everything all at once, aside from repurposing content. That's the only one thing that actually makes some sense, is if you can repurpose the exact same content everywhere. And even that takes up a little bit more energy and a little bit more mental bandwidth. But okay, you could pull that one off, right? But you have to pick a main lane to stay in for the most part, at least when you're initially building the foundation of your career. We all agree to that, right? So if you're going to choose a place to build, and if you're going to try to build a career, is the goal to build we all agree that the main idea is if you want to build a career, you should probably try to build a career that's going to last, right?
Yes, but also depends
I would hope
on
so.
if you want to be like a long-term creator or use it as a vessel.
A vessel for
To do anything else.
IRL.
Okay, so here's what
Yeah.
I will say. If you only have a 3 to 5 year window and you think you can get what you want to get in that 3 to 5 year window, then I think something like a short form viral video platform or being a short form viral video creator, if your window of time for your payoff is only 3 to 5 years and it's a stepping stone to something else, and that's it, have at it now, Haas. But I also believe the window for that even being possible going forward is 3 to 5 years, because you can't use Snapchat to blow up anymore. There was a point where you couldn't even use Vine. It was on its way out, and you couldn't use Vine to blow up anymore. So from my point of view, short form platforms have a problem themselves with their longevity and their viability. Get in early, blow the fuck up, milk them and move on, and that, or wait around for the next one. As for TikTok as a company, I do not believe anyone on this panel believes that TikTok has a future post 2025 that's fruitful compared to where it is today.
Yeah.
I do not believe that it'll be around maybe, But in 2030, oh hell no, it ain't worth jack at that point. There's no point.
It's volatile for me as an investor. Like if we were talking about this as an investment, it's volatile for me. I feel like it is a risky investment to go all in, right? So in terms of my friend that I talked about earlier who does Instagram full time, he does not have a mailing list. He does not have a YouTube channel. He does not have anything else outside of that bubble. I
That
think he's
terrifies
wrong.
me.
Exactly. And we've talked about it before, and he keeps wanting to do that, but he never does it, right? And I feel that as part, and the reason that I'm bringing it up again is because I feel that it still solidifies the argument of, regardless of whatever platform you are on, as soon as you hit that benchmark of like, okay, this is like a viable source of income, let me expand this and diversify it and make it safe, because you don't know if Facebook tomorrow is going to be like, hey, you know what? We're changing everything about Instagram. Exactly. And you have zero control over that, right? And it's the same with Twitter, right? Like I'm trying to grow my Twitter, but at the same time I have my mailing list up there. And I've slowly been growing my mailing list in incongruent with my Twitter, because
that new feature I think helps.
Oh, it does. It does, because as my Twitter numbers grow, I'm seeing the mailing list grow as well. And this is a mailing list that is specific for Twitter, just so that I can collect emails. Like there's no, I don't send any newsletters, nothing. This is just like, hey, in case Twitter dies, give me your email address, because then I can contact you and I can tell you where I am at, right? Because it's a failsafe. And I think that people need that. I think that we have to have vaults, because we don't know what's going to happen, especially with these platforms that are not public. As public as we want them to feel, they're not. They belong to a corporation and they are private and they can do whatever they want with them.
It'll never be too late to start a YouTube channel. It'll never be too late to start an Instagram. It will never be too late to start a podcast. It will never be too late to start an OnlyFans. There will be a point where we will all know for a fact it is too late to start a TikTok. The same way it's too late for the most part to start a Snapchat if you aren't going to be on another platform. If you're not going to be on another platform, too late. Like if
we're not there yet, but
like, I mean, it will probably never.
It's coming.
Be. And again, and here's the thing with Twitch, you have to have another platform. That's the entire point. You have to have another platform. So the thing is, looking at, but Twitch is owned by Amazon. It's not going away. So TikTok, I'm not dismissing the fact that it's possible to get opportunities out of TikTok. But again,
I mean, there's so many people who are getting amazing.
I mean, I have plenty of friends who, but if you're not using it to grow something else or to get that opportunity and get out and move on, there is not a future. You're not going to have people who are going to be like, I've been a TikTok creator for 15 years. You're not, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't believe in it, because I don't believe that TikTok has another 10 years in it. I don't believe that TikTok probably even survives the next presidential administration for sure at this point. I'm fairly certain of that one. Like,
the future's a little rocky.
There's no reason to think that TikTok will last.
And again, like my personal feelings is to approach everything that you just said in regards to TikTok with everything. I mean, that's my own personal.
Assume everything will
it's like, as soon as you are able to take advantage of a platform, of the trendiness of a platform, already be figuring out what your next path is.
My Twitter account and my audio podcast, my email list, and my coaching business are all a hedge against YouTube. My going back to doing my Instagram stuff more regularly and trying to grow my Instagram, especially with the book coming out in August, and even the books, even my book career is a hedge. Like I'm diversified. I diversified my career portfolio as a hedge, but I couldn't start with I couldn't start life with a diversified career portfolio. I built that over decades because I'm 38. So like the perspective I'm speaking from is from the same perspective of like, what if the company I work for fires me? What if the company I work for goes out of business? What if the company I work for or the industry I work in gets regulated? I think like that, right? I always think like that. Look at how many, like, again, the thing is, we already know which platforms you can do a decade in. We know. So those are really smart, safe bets. It's kind of like, okay, you can look at, all right, if you want to look at the TikTok versus everything else, you could almost look at TikTok like a cryptocurrency, and you could look at these other platforms the way that you would look at traditional stocks. The opportunity to go big in TikTok, it's there. And it's the new thing, and young people like it, and it's very culturally driven. And yes, it has some underlying utility. Yes. But at the end of the day, it has massive volatility and massive risk associated with it. And it goes through constant bubbles. It goes through constant bubbles. And again, out of everything, it's the most subject to government interference. So the analogy between crypto and TikTok is actually really strong. The parallels between TikTok and crypto are really strong. Like, and I do think when you look at everything, the only thing it really does have, it has nothing unique anymore except for its culture. And maybe you could argue what some people use it for is its network capabilities. Audrey, do you think the majority of people and the majority of young people, let alone, use TikTok for networking?
No. But that doesn't mean there's a big portion who do.
But you use yourself, if you were going to say percentage-wise, what percentage would you put it at?
I mean, does that even, like, really matter? If we're not talking about people who are, like, serious about wanting to do career creator-related stuff, then who cares? Like, if they're just audience. Then...
Okay. But if people aren't serious, my problem becomes, okay, if people aren't serious or they're claiming they're not serious, then what's with all the effort?
Just for fun.
So there's no other version of having fun, or it's not fun to make YouTube videos?
Well, it can be, but some people just like the low barrier
YouTube shorts
content that
YouTube shorts. Great YouTube shorts.
But then you don't get the same culture on YouTube shorts.
Then you say that then and it all comes back to just like what I said. You said that all I said is that all TikTok have is culture. Is that, well, at the end of the day, when everyone clones every other feature that it has, all it has left is culture. And again, people outgrow culture or it doesn't last. And I say that as somebody who's been on this planet for nearly 4 decades and everything like that. I've seen like, if I could count the cultures that I've seen live in bubbles and die, and I need to use more than both my hands here. Like, it's like,
I mean, I don't disagree. I don't know what's gonna happen to TikTok. I'm just talking about right now, the impact it has.
Sure, it has its impact right now, but I think the impact it has right now is overblown. And I also think TikTok is dominated by bots. I think it's dominated by bots, and in my opinion, I can't prove it, so allegedly, I think that almost every number in TikTok is inflated. I think every bit of it's freaking fake. And you know what? Facebook back in the day, before they had to admit how they count views and then be transparent about it, inflated that as well. And YouTube helped call them out for it, because a Facebook view is not equal to a YouTube view because of how it's measured. I almost guarantee you that TikTok measures views, even if you don't stay on the video and you swipe up, even if it's like a second. I guarantee you it counts the views that way. And I guarantee you that those views in general, from TikTokers I've talked to, shown me their analytics. Every TikToker I've talked to believes that a bunch of their audience is bots, and that a lot of their engagement, their views, is artificial traffic. There's not a single TikToker that has 1 million followers that I personally know that I've talked to, and I've talked to quite a few of them over the years, that doesn't believe that. And that's a problem. That's a massive problem. And again, in the short term, and yeah, they'll milk it, and it's great, and they love it, and stuff like that. And again, marketing managers who are doing numbers, they love what they're getting out of the numbers and everything. Like, yeah, it's like, I don't think it'll last. And I think that it has a window of like another 3 years, give it to 2025. It's 3 years of still relevance and some level of dominance and everything like that. And then it'll be irrelevant. It'll be irrelevant in 3 years. Its career will I mean, because by the way, I partly know this and I can predict these cycles not only off of the geopolitical ramifications of TikTok in China, but like, I'll be real with you. We've saw the lifespan of even the post-Vine creators that got big on YouTube. We've seen what that looks like. The last Viners standing are the Pauls. Every single Viner has fallen into decline and almost near relevance or to their scandals, except for the Pauls. And the Pauls have just basically outlived their scandals because they refuse to die. That's it. Like, that's it. So even the post-Vine era creators are struggling to have a decade legacy. Most of them will not. Almost none of them, even the ones who got big, that got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, they will not have a decade-long legacy. That's so the lifespan and the highlight reel of their career, aside from maybe behind the scenes stuff, is largely over. And that, like, you see more longevity with long-standing YouTube creators, or even creators who started in the Vine era but were on YouTube but never did Vine. Snapchat, there's going to be, like, again, even the celebrities that went from being C-rank celebrities to being really relevant, again, like a DJ Khaled and everything like that, they're not relevant anymore. They're not relevant anymore. That hurrah lasted even less than the Viners. Snapchat celebrity relevant status, even translating into the mainstream, had a shorter lifespan than the Viners, which means even if someone becomes a celebrity off of TikTok, like, let me ask you something. Even with the fact that they've transitioned to YouTube, do y'all believe that in 2028, anyone will be giving a crap about Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio?
I don't know.
Guys, we've been going for 2 hours, so I think it's time to wrap it up.
I wonder how the ratings did on their Hulu show.
Roberto.
Yeah.
I mean, Dixie's trying to be a pop star.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. Yeah. What are your odds? What are y'all's betting odds on that one?
I don't know. I've never heard her sing before, so to be honest, I don't really know.
Have you actually met people who are fans of theirs in real life?
No, but I'm also not 12. I feel like if I asked a 12-year-old, they'd definitely know who she was.
How many things that you were into when you were 12 are you not straight up embarrassed by now as an adult, or that you weren't embarrassed by and disavowed by the time you got to high school?
I mean, I could say that about YouTubers.
None of the things, because
It's harder to say about YouTubers, but even if that's fair, but that's also the problem with cultivating a young audience. That's also the problem with cultivating a young audience.
Oh, yeah, I agree
It
with
blows
that.
you up. Easiest way to get to 10 million anything is pander to the 12-year-olds and everything like that. See how long that lasts, though, in terms of, but that's also the problem with having a decade-long career too. That is the problem. People who get big and get famous that way, they have right up until those people get like into like high school, and then maybe they get another crop of those people for a little while, like the younger siblings of those people and everything like that. That's why people's careers last 5 to 7 years. That's why every piece of data that we have, in fact, Matt Koval from YouTube is now working on, he does his own channel. He worked at YouTube for like almost 10 years. He has all this great data, and he actually had an internal piece of data that they'd been looking at. And even YouTube knows that, oh, the average creator's career only lasts 5 to 7 years. But do you know why a relevant creator's career only lasts 5 to 7 years? Because they blow up on the back of very small cultural bubbles or trends like dancing or flip challenges and this and that and everything like that. And the audience outgrows them, and most of them can't adapt and evolve, and therefore they fade. And instead of anyone learning the lesson or understanding the assignment, all anyone does is then copy the same cycle of doing that. And I'm not saying you can't never make content for young people. People do it all the time. But the key to what I said was learning to adapt and evolve so that the audience doesn't outgrow you. And the only great examples of this truly are Markiplier and Jacksepticeye for the most part. their adaptability is pretty significant. To a different degree, you could argue PewDiePie, but I think that he just largely, again, benefited from being the biggest YouTuber so long, and was culturally dominant because of that. I think that if you really analyze the numbers of Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, you would see that in terms of actually without the same advantage there, that technically they've done a better job with that. But I guess I can leave that one for another time.
Yes, you can. And you can take us out.
All right. Yeah. Wow. We haven't done a 2-hour episode in a minute.
We had a lot to say.
I would say it's probably mostly me. Thank you for listening to the No Civil Required Podcast, a podcast where we talked about nothing for 2 hours straight. Tune in next week when we'll have another exciting topic. Maybe it won't devolve into a debate. This has been your trio of hosts signing off, including Romina with the good hair, Audrey, boss video editing, Ember, and of course, your dark lord of the interwebs, Roberto Blake. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time. Nop.
Bruh.